That's it. All right. On to our next speaker. We're pretty excited here. Welcome to the stage, Ginny Plumeau, planning to graze.
All right, if you're planning to graze, and I'm talking about sheep now, and this is from a developer's perspective, you have to be thinking about these things early. Water, access, turnaround, fencing, seeding. First, benefits, okay? First of all, you're maintaining the agricultural use in a rural area, and ideally, you're cutting down on soil loss and a reduction of runoff pollutants. It's sustainable. All of us are for that. It does provide income for not only retiring farmers, but also it provides a new livelihood for the farming community. Vegetation management with sheep is a hell of a lot easier than trying to get under there with a mower, okay? It also preserves, it helps to prevent damage to the panels from rocks that are kicked up, and it also prevents them from catching fire. Okay, common pitfalls. Not planning enough in advance. Get right into design and forget about things like gates, okay? So do this well before it goes to construction. There aren't enough sheep, for starters. So you're gonna hear this message over and over. Do it early, okay? A developer wants to be sought after by the grazers. Number one, water. You can't think about that at the end, right when you're going to construction. The animals can't really graze in streams and wetlands. You're gonna pay a lot more if you don't have water and they're having to truck it in. Developers, well, do it. Carve out those buildings, okay? What's over there? The damn well. That's what you need. So if you need a building, you do have to think about liability. Okay, I'm not going to talk too much about gates, but I am going to say this. You got a tractor like that coming in or loading out animals, they have to be able to turn around. You don't want them going back and forth and back and forth. Okay, fencing, same thing you have to think about. Fences have to go flush to the ground or deeper if it's in an area with predators like coyotes, or you have to bring in a burrow. Here's another thing you have to think about, more applicable to larger projects. You may have game or you may have other animals that need to migrate through your site. If it's a utility scale project, it's easier to say, don't put gaps in your fence over there. I'm sorry, I got that backwards. Okay, seeding. Grazers aren't really putting together the seeding plan, are they? Other people are. But they have to be involved. You have to plan early. It's not pollinator planting. It's not even really pasture. It's more like a grassland meadow mix. It has to be just right for the sheep. They will eat flowers, but you don't want to put all your pollinator plants right where they're going to be grazing. Okay, it's not so much the trampling, but when seed is setting, you don't really want them trampling those plants, eating the plants. Now, again, the grazer needs to see the seed mix. They're not typically the ones putting it together. And so you want to do a pollinator planting and put a whole bunch of milkweed in there for the butterflies? It's not going to work. Here's another thing nobody thinks about. You're putting kind of a pasture mix out there. You're going to have to do some overseeding or reseeding every few years. And as a developer, O&M's not going to like you too much. Okay, grazing plans and grazing contracts. Don't accept something that's 1 or 2 pages, okay? It has to have the detail. It should have the training detail. It should have when they inspect. It needs to talk about the rotation plan. In a lot of places in the US, they're not there all year, the sheep. And it has to have the cost per acre. here's something that you have to keep in mind. The grazer needs a commitment. They need the commitment early. Get them a letter that says, we intend to hire you. Yeah, there's some liability with that. But if you wait and give them a 1-year contract, someone else is going to get the next year, okay? There aren't enough sheep. There aren't enough grazers. They're your grazing partner. Thank you.
Nicely done. So, anybody have data to refute anything that she said? I think not. That you have an awful lot of knowledge about this. Where in the country is this kind of most prevalent? What's going on here? Midwest, upper Midwest, where it rains. Cool. And then you have a bunch of seeds, and you need to get with him and not put the obnoxious seeds in with your mix. And why was the mule with the sheep? Guardian animal. Okay. Yeah, it looked majestic. Fantastic.